Dylan here, and today we're going to be reading a quickie article. Today's quickie article is on the incredible Lioness. Now, we have been talking about the CWCki crystals and the mega evolutions that the characters will get from that, and this is Rosachu's mega evolution. Now, just like with Ultra Sonichu, this is not an original form, and it actually has a prior history, so we're going to be looking at the history of this form. We start this article, like we do most articles, with a quote. When feeling the most enraged, most distraught, most stressed out beyond belief, Rosachu will recollect why she is feeling this way. Then she will transform into the incredible Lioness. And that was a quote from Chris. And yes, the incredible Lioness is naked, but luckily it is censored enough to where I think I can get away with it on YouTube. Hopefully I do. If her clothes are not nearby when she is fully recovered and rested, the poor woman will have to rush home as quickly as possible to clean up and put on clean clothes, straight out of an anime. Or find some kind of material to make a set of makeshift clothes for the trek back home. It's almost like that form is incredibly sexist, and the fact that it was made for empowering her is a joke. The incredible Lioness was a horrifying form that Rosachu was given in Sonichu 8, originally to face rape the comic incarnation of Jason Kindercowl. Little information is given in the comic itself, but Chris gives further details on the Wikipedia. Seemingly similar to Ultra Sonichu, rather than gaining power from exposure to the chaotic crystals, Rosachu simply gains tremendous strength through stress and rage, closer to the Incredible Hulk. I guess that's why he called her the Incredible Lioness. Than anything else. However, Chris most likely meant to rip off Sonic's Werehog transformation, so it's kind of like a mixture of the two, Werehog and Incredible Hulk. It explains why she grows more hair. From Sonic Unleashed, and the time frame makes sense too. Chris implies that because Rosachu is a woman, she can't control herself. Wow, that's sexist. When she gets into rage. And the only way to calm her down is to tell her that she's pretty, or whatever Chris means by make amends with deepest apologies, heavy flattery, and promising to do as she wishes. Oh god, that is so beyond sexist, and that makes Sonichu such a fucking cuck. However, in both appearances in the comics, she calms down without any intervention, which is good because Sonichu doesn't need help looking pathetic. The transformation process also completely destroys her clothes. Presumably, she has to have the foresight to know that she is about to go into a blind, unstoppable rage and remove all of her clothing, or just put on some makeshift clothes later. How and why her clothes are destroyed isn't clear. It's because Chris is being sexist again, and the only time Rosachu is transformed this far, she removed her clothing herself. But no part of the transformation involves anything that would damage the clothing. She does not grow in size or change shape. She does kind of grow in size. She gets a little bit taller and her back becomes a little bit more hunched over. And she gets a more broader chest too. She does change a little bit. This author obviously didn't pay too much attention. Why clothes are such a concern for her in the first place is mystifying, considering most of the Sonichus and Rosachus don't wear any clothing at all, like Angelica, so that's actually a good point. Chris also clarifies that only the true and original Rosachu can transform into this form, so that means only Rosachu can go into a hate rage and destroy people. One could argue that this is due to Rosachu's parentage. According to Chris, she was sired by a Luxray, a lion-esque Pokemon. Oh, I didn't think about that. Maybe that is why she can do that. Since this makes sense, it is highly unlikely that it was interpreted... It is highly unlikely that it was intended by him. So, yeah, that does make a little bit of sense, and I'm shocked that the coincidence just matched up like that. Unamusingly, Chris appears to have traced the Incredible Lioness's pose in her debut appearance from a piece of artwork of the heroic Godzilla series monster, King Caesar. I am not shocked. Chris always has to plagiarize everything. and people say Chris isn't tracing now. He is obviously tracing. God, and apparently that's what she is traced from, so she's kind of like a Godzilla creature too? God. Considering Chris's relatively limited interest, it is more than likely that he simply found the image somewhere on the internet and isn't familiar with the source material at all. As you may have guessed, Chris created the Incredible Lioness in an attempt to show his support for women's rights. Or just wanted a character to beat the crap out of a troll and then say she supported women's rights. Sonichu 8. In the climax of episode 17, Rage Against the Garbage, Rosachu and Sonichu travel to the 66+6 floor of the 4centgarbage.com to confront Jason Kindercow about the ED page. Their main concern is the troll fan art of Rosachu with a duck, which is Chris terms for dick, which Sonichu innocently interprets as a simple misunderstanding. Jason outright refuses to take down the ED page and brutally throws Sonichu to the floor. Rosachu reacts nonchalantly to this and doesn't transform until, as the two leave, Jason has the audacity to throw a pickle at her. It strikes her on the back of the head. She picks it up and crushes it in her fist with rage. As her mind fills with thoughts of violence and bizarrely ominous feminist diatribes glorifying the creative power of the ovary in spite of this supposed respect for the female being. Rosachu goes on to strip completely naked, exposing her breasts and vagina, in what Chris maintains is a comic intended for children. Well, they already had a sex scene at the beginning of the comic, so you can't say it's for children anymore. This is just a cherry on top. At this point, she becomes the Incredible Lioness. The Lioness leaps at Jason with murder in her eyes, in what may be the most hideously explicit violence in Sonichu up to that point. She wraps her legs around his head so that her vagina is pressed against his face, a move which is probably copied from Kekko Common, and I don't know that thing, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. Then she tears a rip across his scalp and bites down. Wow, that makes her fucking ravenous. Like, why would you do that? Is she gonna eat him? Like, why would she do that? I can't wait to review that comic. In moments, Jason is near death, although dark forces keep him alive. That's an actual quote from the comic. Why this attack intended to involve Rosachu shoving her vagina into Jason's face is unclear. Rosachu then reverts back to her standard form, and I think the reason why she shoves his crotch in his face is to literally show him that she is a woman, because he keeps depicting her with a dick. I think that's what Chris was intending to do there. Close to fainting from her outrageous exertion. Sonichu 11. After the moon releases an energy wave, Rosachu transforms into the Incredible Lioness in her backyard after picking up a Sonicite stone. For an unexplained reason, she isn't enraged when she transforms, probably because it's Crystal this time transforming her. Also, she's nude in front of her 3 children, which is very good, Chris. That's not creepy at all. Rosachu is surprised by this and rushes inside to get a new pair of clothes, which Chris probably thinks is hilarious because he is sexist like that. And that was the Incredible Lioness. Hopefully you guys learned something from this, and those are the 2 super forms that these 2 will get from touching the Sonicite crystals. If you guys learned something, hit the like button. If you really like it, then share it. If you want to see more, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Before the credits roll, I thought I'd take a second to talk to you guys about my Patreon. If you want to help keep the channel going and prevent it from going under when YouTube decides to randomly demonetize my videos, or when a nutcase like GamerGuy decides to strike my channel making me lose money off of my streams, you can go back my Patreon. Benefits include being a producer, which means you get all the credits at the end of the videos. You can recommend quickie articles, which means that articles you want covered are more likely to happen sooner. You can request me to review a comic book of your choice, or you can even come on to be a guest reader for the fanfiction series. My Patreon is linked in the description below, and it's also in the About section on my YouTube. Hope to see you guys there.